So sometimes the fork in the road is literally in the road. When I was a child, I first wanted to be a ballet dancer, like Tony. That dream was out the window pretty quick. Then I wanted to be an astronaut, and that dream left with the Challenger explosion. And then I wanted to be a writer or an actor, and those two things sort of were in league with one another from 5th grade on. I did not want to grow up to be a project manager at an online educational technology firm based in India. That wasn't on the docket, and yet. But about 10 years ago, right around the time I started doing live storytelling, I was asked by a friend to be in a production at the Ware Center in Lancaster, and it was billed to me as a dramatic staged reading of letters celebrating Veterans Day. So it was going to be letters that servicemen and their families sent back and forth, and they needed, I mean, to be fair, wives back at home to read some of the letters. And I was like, I would love to. Like, I did not make it as an actor, and I was writing here and there, and I thought, this is going to be so great. I'm going to get on stage. I didn't even have to audition. I showed up at the first rehearsal, and it turned out it was not, in fact, a dramatic staged reading, but we would need to memorize all of the letters. And I hadn't memorized lines in years, and I was 40. And one of the things I love so much about storytelling is you cannot tell when someone makes a mistake. Literally, you don't even know if this is the story I was planning to tell when I got up on stage right now. But these letters, and because it was letters back and forth, something I said had to match what my service member husband said, and I started to like sweat in the audience. We were like sitting in the seats before we got up on stage, learning that we were gonna have to memorize these letters. And I was like, oh my God. How did I get myself into this? It was at one time my dream. I had left that dream long ago, and I had found storytelling, which was sort of scratching that like everybody look at me itch. So I go through the first rehearsal, and I'm like, it's horrible. Now, granted, we do have our scripts for the first rehearsal, but every time I walked out on stage to have this like dramatically staged letter reading exchange with my husband, all I could see was just text. It was just text and text and text. It was like, not dialogue. It was like paragraphs. And I was like sweating, and I did not enjoy myself. And I did have a day job and 2 young kids. And this was something I was doing for fun. And so I left the first rehearsal, and if anyone knows downtown Lancaster, lots of one-way streets. So I walked to my car. It is raining. It is dark. It is pitch black. It is cold. It is raining. And I am parked on the left-hand side of the street because all the traffic is going in one direction. And I'm going to have to figure out a way to pull out in the dark of night with the rain coming down, right where cars were turning left. So I didn't have a really good visibility to what was happening behind me. And I'm trying to calm down from this horrible thing that I've gotten myself involved with, and I'm trying to figure out how to pull out. And I actually have this clear thought of, if I got in a fender bender, I could pull out of the production and no one would blame me. And I'm literally looking over my shoulder thinking, is there a car going slowly enough that I could just like edge out, and then I took another deep breath and said, you are 40 years old, you can just fucking quit. And so I got home that night, I wrote a nice little email saying how this wasn't really what I thought I was signing on for, and I was so honored to be included, but I just couldn't do it. And to be fair, the fork in that road would have had really dire consequences had I taken the wrong fork. But I do think it's the first time that I ever sort of quit something just because I wanted to. And I learned a lot about myself in that moment, so I would not have had it any other way.